Was that a guess whose music we didn't hear tonight? Yeah, so like what was the last episode we did? Well, not the last one. We did the football thing, which was crazy. But the one before we did a CM Punk episode, and really the idea came from Kyler, who joins us again tonight. Thank you, sir. Hello.
How you doing, buddy?
Good, man. And he sent me this like Facebook message. It basically was like, and I gotta pop off. I've got some things to say. And Lord, man, things have changed since that message was sent.
Boy, do I have some words for you tonight.
I had to go dig out my CM Punk shirt because I had packed it, but I had to dig it out for tonight.
Dude, man, let me tell you something. When CM Punk came into the, I guess, my scene, once I was watching WWE at the time, I was a huge fan of this guy. Huge fan. I loved everything that he did, what he stood for, all of that, whatever. And then, like, closer towards the end, I understand he had some issues with Vince McMahon and all that bullshit, but, like, you just started seeing, like, the true him. And it really, when it all come down to it, after all this stuff, he's just a bitch. That's all he is. He's just a baby back bitch, and I can't put it any other better way, because like all he fucking does is complain because he doesn't get the top contract. He's not in a video game this or that. And he's not getting paid millions of dollars when actually he is, and he's got a better life than most. And yet, I don't know. I just
see. Now I'm gonna tell you what I had told them, because I know Tom didn't. Tom was taking the Colt Cabana side, which I don't know much about Colt Cabana, but just judging by what I saw in that media scrum, I'm not pissed at Punk for popping off the way he did. Right. Maybe he shouldn't have said some of the stuff he said, but I don't know about you guys, but when I get done doing something that exhausts me, the last thing I want is for somebody to come up and pick a wound.
Yeah, I get that.
And so when he went off like he did, like that was just him. Like for years, he hasn't really said much about it. He's been pretty silent on it. And then as soon as he gets done winning the world championship in a brutal match, he's hurt too, which it's actually apparently a significant injury. He comes back, and the first thing they say is they talk about Colt Cabana. Get the fuck out of here. Did you not just see what I just fucking did? And now you're going to bring that up? And that everything I do in the wrestling universe and anywhere else revolves around that. That's the first fucking question I get every single fucking time. Go fuck yourself. Like that's, that would be I would be in that same mindset. So,
and I understand that to an extent, but where I see it could have been a lot different, because we've seen the same CM Punk before in WWE, no problem. We've seen it. We've seen this attitude. We've seen how he's reacted. He knows what's going to happen if people start peeling that scab back. He knows. Around the game long enough. So, yeah, I get the fact that it probably hurt his feelings a little bit, but it's up to him as a fucking man to be like, listen, like, I'm not going to put up with this shit, but in a different, better way to promote a better locker room. Because that's what, for decades, that's what the issue has been with all of these big wrestlers, is the shit that goes down in the locker rooms. It's, whose dick is going to pop out of their pants and flop out onto the table. That's really all it ever has been, and he had a chance to make it different, and he did.
It's probably going to be Ric Flair, by the way.
I was just going to say
it's going to be Ric Flair's dick, and it's going to give everyone the Ric Flair.
Rich kind of brought us back to earth on this because I know Bob and I were exchanging text messages through our little chat there, and Rich had obviously, wrestling. Look, it's a everything's a work, right? I mean, or it seems to be. But I think that the interesting thing is that this is one of those rare cases. Well, not rare cases where the backstage stuff tends to be a bit more interesting than what just happened in front of the camera, which isn't, or in front of the audience, which is a shame because they just had a killer pay-per-view.
Right.
Yeah.
And honestly, I mean, what it comes down to for me is not only saying what I just said, Punk is still in the wrong. Don't get me wrong. But what happened after, and regardless of whose side of the story is the right one, as far as with the exchange with Punk, the Bucks, Ace Steel, and Kenny Omega, that was completely wrong. There was no reason for that shit to happen. So,
right. Rich, I was curious to see kind of what your take was on kind of being able to look at some of the stuff that kind of went down after All Out and the scrum and the fight and all that. What you thought about all that? Because you were very kind of level-headed on it.
I still think it's you don't know what to believe, and that's part of what they're doing is they're turning everything, like they control what gets out. So like it was reported by the wrestling, whoever media that was there reported the backstage stuff, but we don't know exactly what happened other than what got out. And then they keep spinning this, like all the stuff they did with MJF a couple months ago, where you don't know if it was real or fake or whatever. So it's all part of this new, like they know their fans are online now. They know their fans are reading everything. So I still think that I don't know how grown men can, and I know this is all part of the whole wrestling thing, but how grown men can have this whole, oh, he called me this, so now I'm going to go kick in his door backstage and beat him up, even though I'm the senior vice president for this thing.
Right.
And it seems like a lot of this is just really nicely made up stuff for, especially if he's injured again. If he's injured again and couldn't wrestle, and they just did that whole thing where he was injured for a while, he couldn't wrestle, they had the interim championship. He came back. We don't know what happened where he hurt his foot again or whatever in the the regular match on Dynamite, and then he did the pay-per-view and won. And then if he injured again, this is a good way to write him out with an injury without saying he's injured again.
Right.
And so it's all like it could go either way. And this is stuff that, I mean, when we were kids and watching wrestling, I mean, we didn't have the internet, but they also kept everything behind the scenes secret. Like none of it was, ever brought. And if it came close to being brought out, the wrestlers were punished. Like that famous story with whoever was traveling with the Iron Sheik, and they got caught together in the
Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Yeah.
Hello.
Now they know people are going to be following this, however closely that they can. So they're rolling it into real life and blurring the lines, as it were.
Right.
That said, I'm kind of happy. I wanted Death Triangle to win all along anyway. So
I was kind of hoping. Good.
Oh, I'm sorry. So, like, kind of going into more detail about the fight that happened with Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson. The way that this, I'm looking at fansided.com, but the way that they're kind of describing what went down, it kind of almost looks like a bit like a scripted kind of fight. I mean, yeah, swinging fists. I mean, everybody, you've seen them come up where they grab the back of the head like this, and they're both just, throwing. And then there was a chair. They said biting and like grabbing him by the hair. Like, to me, that is wrestling. That's just rough wrestling. I mean, it's not a PG or a G, whatever rated show. So like I there's a part of me that's about 40%. There's a part of me that says this is just kind of, since he is injured, now that you brought that up, since that he is injured, we saw what happened with the 2011 pipe bomb, so let's go with that. Let's make that work in our favor.
Yeah, it's interesting. So Bobby brought it up. Or Bob or Richie, I forget, someone did the MJF stuff and how Richie you did. And yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm not even that tired or drunk, so weird.
We look alike, so it's okay. I understand.
Yeah.
We do. Well, we're white.
Yeah,
all white people look
but
alike.
the MJF stuff, here's the crazy thing. MJF returns at that same pay-per-view. So they based
I'm actually black like Taz, by the way.
Yeah, it's a Kyler. I don't know if you know that, but Richie, for the longest time, thought that Taz was black.
Until I saw his very white son. Like, wait a minute. Something's not right here.
These things is not like the other.
He's just a Dago like me, so it's cool. It's just Southern Dagos.
But so the crazy thing is, so MJF returns on the same pay-per-view, right? And they kind of played that up as a legitimate thing, like, hey, he was actually going to leave the company and all this crap. Goes silent on social media, doesn't do anything for months, and then all this happens here, and they do the same thing. They apparently cut out Punk and anyone involved with the Elite from the show opener. They immediately vacate the titles, which I figured was going to happen. I throw that in our notes this afternoon. I mean, we all knew that was going to happen. Regardless of the injury or not, that was bound to happen. I think the thing that really throws me here is that I know Bob and I were talking about this earlier, that this was seen by several neutral parties, but one of the people that saw it was not exactly a neutral party. It was the head of their legal team, who's also has to be the head of legal for the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Khan family itself. And I'm gonna guess there's in Tony Khan's initial spot at the show tonight, the line was, "I was forced to vacate the titles." I'm not going to read between the lines on this, but if I'm reading that from a real sense, straight up, and not wrestling, it was like someone put the screws to him and be like, "You better put this ship right, or you're done, or we're gonna find someone else to run the company."
Right.
This reeks of some of the crap that was happening WCW 1999, 2000, with Jeff Jarrett and Vince Russo and the finger poke of doom stuff and all that crap. This just reeks. Some of it does, not all of it, but part of it does. And it's you're close to having either this is one of the world's greatest storylines in wrestling history, or the inmates are that close to running the asylum once again.
So I've got a question for all three of y'all, because I am going to assume that all three of y'all are older than I am, and that's not a dig. So with looking like you saying this is looking like kind of like a WCW shit, why do you think history repeats itself like this, or is possibly on the fringe of repeating itself like this?
Honestly, I would say the EVPs have a little bit too much power, and it's going to their heads, and they're looking out for number one instead of looking out for the best of the company. And that's what, a lot of the issues that have arisen, it seems like, you're looking at guys that are like, well, why the fuck are the Young Bucks the trios title? Why do they get the trios title? Why can't, and you see, like, I don't know how legit the heat between Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay was, but how did Will Ospreay?
Will's already done his obligations.
He's already come and gone, and he's one of the biggest indie wrestlers there is right now. He's one of the biggest names that's internationally, and he's here for a cup of coffee, and you see guys like that. Why did Cody Rhodes leave? Did Cody Rhodes leave legitimately because he wanted to go back to WWE? Or was he sick and tired of the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and Adam Hangman Page pulling all their stupid bullshit And, you know, he was like, you know, fuck you guys. I'm going to go back to someone that's professional.
Well, and a name we failed to mention too, got conditionally released today, was Malachi Black.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or if unfamiliar, it's Alistair Black or Tommy End. And it's crazy. And now I know, Grant, I've seen things, and I'm again just gonna kind of a conjecture thing here with him, is that they said it's more of a mental health type deal with him. But again, I don't know that for a fact. I'm just stating from different things. My thing is, though, what you just said, Bob, you know, what if he was just sick and tired of the way things are being run? It's like, I want out of here. I want any way possible.
Right.
It's possible, you know.
I mean, and that all comes into play with the tampering aspect that we've been hearing about for the past few weeks, where Tony Khan had to come out and say, you know, hey, they're tampering with our guys. I'm not going to put up with it, you know. So, and we all know that Zelina Vega works for WWE, and that's his wife. I'd imagine that he's going to want to be with his wife. Part of the reason that he left WWE was the old regime didn't value him as much as Triple H did. Well, Triple H is now in charge. So let's put the pieces together. It's not that fucking hard.
Exactly.
It's like one of those little 4-piece puzzles that they give the kids, you know?
I usually end up with one of those in my mouth, though, so, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, as long as it's not your butt.
But it's cool, though. Go ahead, Kyler.
No, you're good. You know, I think that you're seeing. So there's a parallel that I can best explain this in the fishing industry. So you had the Bassmaster Elite Series, which was like the top of the top, you know, tournament trail for pros. What happened is that, like, all of them, kind of similar to what happened to WWE, is, you know, they made some changes that were not favored by a lot of the anglers, and so these other people, really rich people, made major league fishing, and then they were over there. Like, it looked like there was just a mass exodus. Like, these very famous pro anglers moved over to there. Now you're seeing some come back because, you know, MLF is making some bullshit changes, and it's not really doing what they want. So they have to either buy out their contract and go back and re-qualify. Like, I think that you're seeing people go back because of strictly Triple H and probably what he's doing to the Performance Center. A couple of the people that he's brought back to help run behind the scenes. Yeah, I mean, if I were at AEW, you know, kind of like a mid card or whatever, and I saw the shit that was going down with shows, I'm out. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't want to risk my job and the thing that I love to do because of your petty bullshit. So if Hunter comes to me and is like, hey, we'll give you a better contract to come back to either SmackDown or Raw, or hell, even NXT, because I think he's getting rid of the 2.0 shit. You know, I would sign a contract with those. Why not? Right. They're established.
Right.
I think I was reading, and I can't remember which because I've read several different things over the course of the last couple of days. Someone brought up a really good point. AEW is stock full of talent, and they've got a lot of money, and they've got a nice TV deal. Warner Media, they've got it all. The one thing that lacks is the front office. And I'm not saying that there's not good minds in it, because you do have, you know, different people that have had many, many years of experience in the business. The way the business was 20 years ago, you know, it's now you've got a kind of a different animal, and the people that are running the other show, so to speak, WWE, they know this, and they are very well versed in it. So this was tonight was a make or break, not necessarily for the company, obviously, but I think it went off really well. They did a good job. The Moxley promo was dynamite. No pun intended. It was Rampage. No.
no, you're right though. Like, I think they started off great. Like, how did you get? You didn't get to see the MJF promo, did you?
No, I missed it. Yeah, I caught in right at the Moxley promo, which I thought was great. I mean, he always does a good job on the mic, but he did it really solid.
So MJF comes out in a Josh Allen jersey, Richie's number 1 pick, by the way, best quarterback in the league. Comes out and he starts cutting what's essentially a babyface promo, and it was one of those tongue-in-cheek babyface promos where you could tell, like, oh, he's just playing up to the crowd. When is this going to take the left turn we know it's inevitably going to take? And then it did when Mox came out. And he said, all right, let's talk about the big, fat, smelly elephant in the room. And I'm not talking about you, lady. No, I'm just kidding. I'll see you backstage, sweetheart. And that's when it sort of got off the rails. And then Mox came out and he like shit all over the Bills and wiped his ass with the Josh Allen jersey. And, it was funny and it was good. But it led to that outstanding Moxley promo. And honestly, throughout the night, I'm sure they had their best people working on every single thing that went into it. But there wasn't a segment that I thought was bad. I was unhappy with Daniel Garcia winning the ROH Pure Championship from Wheeler Yuta, because I like Wheeler Yuta and I like Blackpool Combat Club. But it made sense. He was in his hometown. Way to send the crowd home happy. And it was cool because it actually created a little bit of attention and a little bit of heat in the Jericho Appreciation Society, because then Daniel Bryan comes down and Daniel Bryan shakes his hand and puts the belt on him and raises his hand. And then Jericho comes out and he's like, what the fuck? So.
Yeah, and they're scheduled to wrestle in the tournament, so it works out.
Yeah. But let's talk about a couple WWE things, and let's talk about some other stuff, because we've spent a good portion of time here on our 100th episode talking about wrestling. We've got a ton of shit to talk about aside from that. There's one in particular that I'm really excited to talk to you guys about. It's on the run sheet. I don't know if Tom, I know you looked at it, Richie. I don't know if you did. Kyler, I know you haven't seen it. I can't wait to discuss this topic with you guys. So let's talk about the two big returns to WWE. First, we'll talk about the good one, which was Johnny Gargano. I'd love to see Johnny Gargano back in WWE. If he's not going to be wrestled in AEW, get him in AEW or get him in WWE. Team him up with Tommaso Ciampa. Let's have DIY 2.0, and they can run through the tag division and fuck up the Usos until the Usos get DUIs, and then they get the belts back.
It's only going to take one DUI, and then 6 months later they'll get the belts back.
DUI versus DIY.
I think we figured.
Love it.
I was going to say, I think we figured it out. I think one of them got a DUI, and then 2 nights later they won the titles back. I think that's how that worked out.
If they bring in Jeff Hardy, they can do their own trio stuff.
Yeah, they can they can be called Rehab. We've got Damage Control in the women's division. They can be Rehab.
Yeah, failed rehab.
Failed rehab. Yeah.
Well, their first major program could be against DDP and a couple of guys.
Oh yeah, DDP. Well, no, we'll bring Punk back to WWE and they can redo the Straight Edge Society.
Maybe if it's a
I was going to say DDP, Jake the Snake, and Scott Hall, but oops.
Yeah, that one won't work.
No.
Ouch.
Nope.
I'm excited for Gargano to be back. It'll be exciting.
Yeah, same. I got the I saw him a couple times. A couple of the NXT shows I went to in person. Actually, the one I was in the front row. I did got the good old Johnny fist bump, so that was pretty cool.
Nice.
That was gosh, like 4 or 5 years ago now. But no, I always loved him. So I'm excited to see him back, and he fits so well with this new vision, if you will. But Bob, you mentioned someone else that came back too, and I know he's one of your all-time favorites.
Fucking giant ass herd Braun Strowman. What a piece of shit. Scrappy's going to make his first appearance on the.
Aw.
Well, here's the thing, though. He's got a major character change. He went from having a little bit of hair on top of his head to no hair at all. That's it.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Dude,
true. That's
seriously
how his
though,
character evolves.
that dude now, have you seen him compared now to what he was?
He's freaking jacked.
He is super jacked, but I still hate him.
It's ridiculous.
I still hate him. Not you. You're cute.
Why? I'm kind of curious. Why do you hate him?
Just because he's useless, man. Plus, he's been a shithead when he's been out in public. He treats people like shit. So I don't like him as a person.
So he's like a big dude MJF wannabe?
Yeah, except for
he's just terrible at it?
Yeah, because, MJF, I feel like it's all the work.
Mm-hmm.
With Braun, he's just legitimately a shitty person.
Yeah.
And so I've got no time for him. I don't see why he needs to be in WWE.
I'll tell you exactly the reason why he needs to be in WWE is because who do you have working as a big man in WWE right now?
I don't care.
No, nobody.
Honestly,
that's what I'm saying is like, if he's smart, he can reignite the big man, like Big Show, Kane, 7 foot tall freak. He's never going to compare to Andre the Giant. No one's ever going to compare to Andre the Giant. But he has a chance to kind of reignite that and kind of into his repertoire. I would like to see him change his stuff a little bit. The Monster Among Men bullshit is just it's run its course. It ran its course 2 years ago, but I don't know. I like him. Go ahead.
The only reason, I don't like him almost for the same reason I don't like Ray, but it's like the opposite. So like Ray, I don't buy Ray beating the Big Show to win the championship. Just like I'm not really going to buy a smaller guy like Gargano beating Bray Wyatt for a championship. And that's where, to me, it's hard for me to, obviously wrestling, a big part of it is suspending your disbelief that on any given day, it's not the size of the man in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the man. Yeah, I get it. But when you're doing drop kicks and shit, I'm sorry, but if my nephew drop kicks me, it might stagger me for a second, but I'm going to pick him up by his feet and swing him like Cesaro and throw him across the field.
Yeah,
it's not, I don't know. I those massive differences in size like that just throws me off. And when you're a shitty person on top of it, it's just, kiss of death.
Do you ever see Bray Wyatt coming back?
I wish. I hope. That would have been the only way that I was good with Braun Strowman coming back, is if Bray came back and he was just kind of like his heater, and he was back in the Wyatt family. But
Rich, what were you gonna say there?
I was gonna say what Bob was saying is the same issues I have with Darby Allin. Is it looks like he's 100 pounds soaking wet, and his finisher is he falls on top of you from the top rope, which just doesn't seem like it.
Right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I could beat up Darby Allin, and I've only been going to the gym for a month.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. Like Darby Allin looks like, a leaf fell out of a tree.
Yeah, he needs Sting with the bat. That's the only reason he's scary.
And I like Darby Allin. I like the character, but again, it's hard for me to suspend my disbelief with it.
The Strowman thing, I threw this on our notes, and I've said this before doing, this pod many times. I go back to the Eric Bischoff thing. I'm not a Strowman fan at all. I certainly see his place though. Bischoff always had the thing of wrestling's like a buffet. You don't like every item on it, but someone does. And it obviously it's catering to a certain part of the audience. It's not me. It's certainly not Bob. But it's somebody. And they do, I think, we've talking about it here. There is no good big man right now. the whole almost thing was a joke. And I hate to say this, but that was like the second coming of the great Khali. It just did nothing at all.
Except for less talented.
Right. It went nowhere. So there's no big, because right now you have, Paul White is so hopefully playing Captain Insano over in AEW. Obviously Taker's long gone. Kane's out of the business. You have all the big guys that were there is not there, as far as, big, tall, hulking people. And Strowman kind of fits that bill. I mean,
it definitely just fills a gap. And
Strowman
Strowman doesn't have maybe 8 more years of wrestling before.
He's not going to be. I cannot see him. I could see him like, hey, we're going to throw him the reins for a minute, because Reigns is going to drop to Cody at WrestleMania. I don't care what we say from here on till that. He's going to hold it to WrestleMania. He's going to drop at WrestleMania to Cody. So they're going to build up Strowman till maybe Royal Rumble, Survivor Series, whatever. It'll be an obvious loss or whatever. Roman's not dropping that title till WrestleMania. There's no way. Not after the whole McIntyre thing this weekend. No one else makes sense. So Strowman's there as a feeder for right now.
I just thought of this. Kind of a little bit off topic, but who would make a great leader for the Judgment Day?
Richie?
Alistair. Well, yeah. He could be the Anton LaVey of the Judgment Day. No, I was thinking Alistair Black. Minister.
Yeah, that would be cool. Although, I don't know. It's like Finn has a lot of those good leadership qualities.
Yeah.
Punishment Martinez or Damian Priest does not.
Yeah, no, he's fucking terrible.
I can't fucking stand Damian Priest. The dude looks like he should be in the first fucking attempt of Blade, but didn't make the fucking cut. That's how he feels to me.
Before he hit it big, he was dating a cheerleader from our high school. Like back when we were in school. He was dating Robin Hendricks.
Was he really?
Oh, yeah, for a long time.
Get the fuck out.
It's all over their Facebook. Yeah.
That's fucking funny.
I know.
Oh, that's funny as hell, dude.
Speaking of wrestlers with...
as soon as he went to the WWE, they broke up.
Well, of course.
Speaking of WWE wrestlers where people that are currently on this pod have experience playing football against...
Yeah, that was me.
Against?
Go ahead.
No, you say it because I'm trying to think. It's
Ricochet.
Ricochet. Yeah, I played against Ricochet in high school.
Good shit. You know what? Wait a second. So does that mean Damian Priest graduated around the same time as we did?
Oh no. I think he was what do they call that? Cougar, going after a cougar.
Okay, I was gonna say, because if he's the same,
he's in his 30s. He's in his 30s.
He's much younger than us.
Okay,
he's 39. He was born in 82.
Yeah.
Oh, he's born in 82.
No,
basically my age.
So
same age then. Yeah. Okay, I didn't realize he was that old.
So I played for Paulsboro for a year. So I wonder if I didn't play with him, and then when we played against, I wonder if we didn't play against him. Now, not as cool as yours, because isn't he from Paulsboro?
All I know is he went to the.
It says he's born in New York. I don't know, but he did train in the Monster Factory. So
exactly, yeah, I was gonna say that's where Robin met him.
Oh, no shit. All right, sorry, dude. You have an actual legit story. I thought I had one.
No, I mean that's really it. I didn't know at the time. I mean, he went to Tillman, which is the Paducah Tillman, which is like the city school, and I went to the county school.
Is that where he went? I thought he was at Reedland.
Was he at Reedland?
I think he was at Reedland. Yeah.
I thought he was at Paducah Tillman, but I could be wrong.
No, I thought he was at Reedland. Yeah, because it was before he consolidated. Because
I feel really bad because I remember playing Reedland our senior year of high school, and there was a reason why the scoreboard did.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I think we ended up beating them 56-6.
Yeah, that's one thing with, because it was that your senior team, I believe. Doesn't don't you still have national records with that team?
So Corey Robinson, hold on, let me get you these stats real quick because it's actually pretty insane.
Yeah, but you'll like this. This was kind of interesting. That the team that he was on in the senior year set a couple national records, and I think they're still unbroken.
So he threw in a week my senior year in the regular season. He threw 91 passing touchdowns. Total passing yards of 5,872. Passing yards per game averaged 391 and a half. 383 passing completions with 520 passing attempts with only 4 interceptions for the whole season.
Dude, it sounds like my 2K.
Dude, it was unreal. But what's sad is that he didn't even get a D1 scholarship. He ended up playing for Troy because he was only 6'1".
That sucks, dude.
Dude, he really wanted to go to Tennessee. He tried to walk on to Tennessee. Things didn't work out, and he ended up getting a scholarship at Troy. And honestly, what's really funny is he was a fucking dick in high school. Let's be real. But he ended up, I think, going to Chicago and was in their training camp, and I think was on the practice team for a bit. And I think they ended up letting him go, and now he works for the barges in Paducah. So, like, that just goes to show, yeah, he doesn't, like, I hope he's doing well. I'm not trying to talk ill will of C-Rob by any means, but, like, it just goes to show some of the classes, they don't give a fuck about the classes when you go to play football like that. But we ended up going 11-1. I think there was only one game where we didn't have over. No, there was 2 games that we didn't have over 50 points per game. One we got in the second time, and then we played one of the playoffs. We only scored 45. And then during the championship, we played Lexington Catholic. I went head-to-head with, I think he is now the free safety for, last I checked, he was, free safety for the Colts, Winston Guy, who ran a 4.3 fucking 40.
Jesus.
I can do that now. Come on. Please.
Yeah.
Oh, me too.
We're premier athletes. Let's
Richie's been doing the gym thing for a month. Where are you at on that? 4.2.
I wasn't paying attention. So sure. 420.
Right. Well,
yes.
Let's move on from our let's move on from wrestling. Let's talk about some stuff here. I guess I'm just gonna tick down the list because it all kind of leads from one thing to another. So first thing I got on the list is a new band, guys. Well, I don't know how new they are, but they're a band called Gnome. Have you ever heard of them?
You threw that in our notes, and I was really curious. But I'm going to be honest with you, I have not clicked or looked at anything yet. But that sounds pretty awesome. What kind of music are they doing?
Metal.
Oh, okay.
So metal, they all just look like nerds, and they wear gnome hats, like red pointy hats.
And apparently they're Belgians.
Belgian.
I think it's I think it's Belgites.
I think it's
Belginus.
Yeah, it's Belgites.
That's it. Belginus.
Yeah.
Antwerps.
All
right.
That's better. Yes.
Yeah. All right. So I recommend checking them out. All right. Now the big one. Asquatches. So apparently some taxidermists are taking deer asses and turning them into Sasquatch heads.
Oh, I just Googled this. Holy shit.
Yes. If you Google it, you will not be disappointed. I downloaded a bunch of pictures of them. Like the ones that I really liked, there was one where they, in the butthole, they put a big blue eye. And so it's got this one big blue eye in the middle of its forehead, and you can tell that it's in the butthole. They've got another one where they lift up the tail, and they just put teeth in it and some eyes on the tail, and it's listed as a Utah werewolf. There's quite a few. If you look them up, they're funny as hell.
There's one where the butthole's just big red lips.
Yeah. Yep.
See, I think I threw this in a message out. I could see this being from one of the taxidermies around here, because Kyler is familiar with this town, Monkey's Eyebrow. There's the only business that I'm aware of is a taxidermy, and it just seems like this would be something that came from there. So
that's
Tom. I'm gonna get you one of these for Christmas now. I'm looking it up. I'm gonna get you.
I certainly don't doubt it. I'll be waiting for it.
Well, see, here's the better part: is that it's actually not going to be sent for you. It's going to be sent for Danielle. It's going to be labeled for Danielle.
Yes. So along those same lines of cryptids. So Tom, you found an interesting hard seltzer pack.
I did. So this was kind of cool. I don't like hard seltzer really. I'm not a fan of seltzer water, so it's hard to even look at. Dude, come on, it's gross.
Oh, hold on, get the fuck out of here.
He's gonna go grab White Claw.
Oh Jesus Christ!
Probably.
Every time you drink a White Claw, Steve Austin is disappointed.
Something like that.
Yeah, White Claws, liquid death, bitch.
I thought that was water.
Yeah, liquid death.
It's seltzer. It's not hard seltzer, but it's seltzer water.
I thought. Oh, that's right.
Liquid death is okay. That's different.
That's still gross.
Only $8.99 a can.
I will say I was disappointed by the actual water itself. I did buy some. I was at Sam's Club and they had it, and I'm like, well, fuck it, let me try it out.
But
why did I waste money on this?
We've done a couple of Cryptids episodes, and we're gonna have to dive in again at some other point on another one, especially now they're close to Halloween, which is pretty cool. But now Urban Artifact, which is a really good brewery in Ohio, they actually put out this Cryptids seltzer pack. But it's really cool. Are you guys familiar with the Jelly Belly game called Bamboozled?
Mm-hmm. Beanboozled.
Where you just try different jelly beans, and it's like, oh, this could taste like, fresh mint, or it's grass, or whatever. It's like, toothpaste or blue raspberry. Right. Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
apparently, the Urban Artifact people did this with this hard seltzer pack, and it's called a trick or treat pack, and you have no idea what you're drinking. And it's called Cryptids. It's got pretty cool box art. I may end up doing it, but apparently there's like
do it online.
That's what I'm thinking, and that'd be one we got to figure out how to film too, because it's got to do some pretty funny faces. But I can definitely get it here. I don't know how. Richie, have you ever seen Urban Artifact up in your area?
I don't think so, but I've never really looked for it.
I'm not sure what their distribution range is. I know they're like Cincinnati, so we get them, and that's about 5-6 hours away from us.
Cincinnati,
New York City.
I'll have to. I'll look for it down here. I can find it down here. You should probably be able to get it up there, I would imagine.
Yeah. Kyler, you obviously can get that stuff. They make really, really good beer. I will say that. So I'm sure that this stuff is pretty good for what it is. But it's a really cool concept. It's hey, let's take the kids' craze of the Jelly Belly stuff and let's have at it with some alcoholic drinks. I think it's a cool party thing.
You're gonna get one that's just gonna be straight piss.
Probably
just warm piss.
I have no idea what flavor. Supposedly, like there's a grass one in there. There's toothpaste. There's whatever. So I don't know what kind of. That'd be my luck.
Oh.
Would be exactly. Would be be like the scene from Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah. Or like in American Pie. I could taste the bubbles. All right. So we've got the Cryptids hard seltzer. Now, some stuff I don't know why I was looking at this, but I was looking up Cryptids on Wikipedia because I just wanted to see what Wikipedia had to say. And there's some new ones out of Japan, well, relatively new. I forget what they're called, but they look like
Pokemon.
Yeah, basically. It looks like a Pokemon. It's like a blob with big legs, and it's supposed to be like part whale, part human or whatever. But I also learned this. cryptozoology has been picked up by creationists. So creationists being people who believe in the young Earth, right, and who think that who are like very devoutly Christian and think that the Earth is super young and that believe the Bible word for word. And their reasoning is they believe they've been actually funding cryptozoological expeditions because they believe that if these expeditions can find real proof of cryptids, that it will disprove evolution.
How would it disprove?
I don't know, but that's their theory. That's their reasoning for why they're funding these expeditions, is because they believe that it will disprove evolution. So I guess if they can find a monkey man or something like that, they can show.
Oh, I got you.
But
I don't know.
But that's the thing, though, is like you can't fucking that makes no sense. It makes absolutely zero fucking sense.
Right. Oh, I know. But so does trying to disprove evolution, if you ask me. So, but and then one more on cryptids. Have you guys seen the trailer for the show The Imperfects?
You sent that to us, and
Yes, I did. Now that you just said it, I did. Yes,
I saw the picture.
So, the synopsis for the show and what really led me to look into it is it's a banshee, a chupacabra, and a succubus join forces to take down an evil science organization.
Oh, hell yes.
So what it looks like, and I watched.
Sounds cool.
This has rubber smeared all over it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what happens is these kids are getting experimented on by this evil science organization, and they end up getting the powers of these cryptids. So and it's really racist because the Hispanic dude is the one that turns into the chupacabra.
And it's not a hot Irish chick, is the
and it's not a hot Irish chick that's the banshee. So,
well, how do you know she's a chick?
Ooh,
that's true.
Ooh.
It is 2022. You're right. All right. Well, but I think it looks pretty fun. Like it looks like a CW show, essentially. Like it looks like it could be kind of like a.
So it's top quality.
Not as
$100 million budget.
Very CW-y.
Like a not as good Supernatural, but it still looks entertaining. Like I'm still looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It looks pretty cool.
Rich, you weren't impressed? You didn't really...
I'm going to check it out, but I think it looks... it's going to be silly.
I think it'll run for... Mark my words, it'll run for 33 seasons. It's going to be...
Well, no, didn't Bob say it was Netflix?
Yeah, it's Netflix. So it'll run for 2 seasons and then get canceled on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Dude, it won't get 2 seasons on Netflix. What are you talking about?
Hey, Glow got 2 seasons and then got canceled.
No, Glow got 3 seasons and got canceled.
Resident Evil only got 1.
Yeah.
I watched the first half of that and was entertained by it.
What, Glow?
I didn't watch it.
Or Resident Evil. It had nothing to do... It had more to do with Resident Evil than the movie series did, but it still doesn't have much to do with it. I like Glow. Glow I like a lot.
Glow's awesome.
I really like
Dude,
Glow.
Mark, I will say this. Mark Maron, one of my heroes. And I'd be remiss if I remember I can't remember the actor's name or the character's name, but the young guy. Oh shoot, the guy that's got he's the guy funding it.
Glow. Yeah.
And I just cannot remember his name on the show, and I cannot remember the actor's name, but I really, really like the character, and I really like him. I think.
Yeah.
The girl that played the daughter, Mark Maron's daughter, was wearing a dead milk.
Yes.
She was wearing a dead milk for a couple of episodes. Philly.
Yeah.
Yep.
And she's cute too.
Yeah, she was good.
That doesn't hurt.
If there's 3 movies on Netflix that I implore you guys to watch, if you haven't seen them already, one is Hardcore Henry. That one's a fucking beast of a movie. Rurouni Kenshin is a live action. One of the ones that they did right. It's a bad. The fight scenes are fucking insane. Like, samurai Japanese stuff. I was always into And then I watched a movie called, I think it's called Day Shift with shit. What's
Shit.
Jamie Foxx and Dave Franco, called Day Shift on Netflix. It's actually pretty good for what it is. It being like comedy fantasy movies. You remember that movie Bright that Will Smith did, and it had like the orc cops. This is similar to that. I think it could be in the same realm, so to speak. It's in fucking California. It has to do with vampires and shit. It's pretty cool. But if you're bored, watch one of those three movies. They're fantastic.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on now to another one, and I had the name wrong, so I'm looking it up now because I want to see what the list of games is. But so we talked on previous episodes about the Evercade and the Evercade Versus, which was the home console version, hooks up the TV. Well, the Evercade is coming out with a new version called the Evercade EXP. It's a handheld. It's a little bit more premium, and it comes with 18 Capcom games built into it. So it comes with 1942, 1943, 1944, Bionic Commando, Captain Commando, Commando, Final Fight, Forgotten Worlds, Ghosts and Ghouls, Legendary Wings, Mercs, Street Fighter II Hyper Fighting, Strider, Vulgus, Mega Man, Mega Man 2, Mega Man X, and Breath of Fire.
For a second there, I thought you were going to be like 1942, 1943, 44, 45, 46, and all the way up to the 18.
Well, they have the Evercade VS. Wow, it looks like a Super Nintendo.
Yeah, we did an entire episode on that.
Yeah. Like it's really like Evercade is really knocking it out of the park. But with this, I'm very tempted to go with this one. And here's the reason why. With the Evercade VS, you can only play that. There's only certain cartridges. So all of the cartridges will fit, but because of licensing agreements, they had to block certain cartridges from working with it. This one works with every single cartridge because it's a handheld, but it's got an HDMI out, and you can plug an HDMI into it and then play it on your TV. And it looks pretty cool. It looks like a solid little handheld. Actually, much more pocketable than a Switch. You can play it in tape mode for your shooter games. So that's pretty cool. It looks like a neat little thing. I don't know that I'll pick it up, but it looks pretty cool for what it is.
I would be curious to see what kind of modifications that I could do with this with the Raspberry Pi.
Yeah, I mean it's possible that you'd be able to hook some cool stuff up with it.
It's cool. That's Bob and I did it was about a year ago, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. Did an Evercade VS episode. That was part of an episode, I should say. We probably didn't do a whole thing to it. Well, we might have though, because we were probably struggling for content back then. Yeah. Until we got Richie on board, and
then our fortunes changed.
Yeah, then I had to cut out half of his stuff anyway that he says, so it really didn't matter. But now I thought it was a really cool concept then. I think they're making some really cool hardware. But again, it kind of goes back to the thing of, if it's a game I'm clamoring to play, I'm gonna crack in the original, or I'm probably just gonna unfortunately play the ROM. So sorry. That's just how I am. I love the stuff they're putting out though, and I think I do like the fact that this is one that I think this is a little more intriguing to me than the console. This is pretty cool. Do you have a price point on that?
I believe it was $150. Yeah, $150. Pre-orders open September. Oh, pre-orders already opened. It comes out on November 24th, and it will come not only with those bundled in games, but it'll come with an IREM Arcade 1 cartridge, which includes R-Type, In the Hunt, Moon Patrol, 10-yard fight, battle chopper / Mr. Heli, and lightning swords.
Yeah, we'll tag Evercade on this one for the free advertisement.
Yeah,
because our 12 listeners are gonna.
There's 12
all buy them
right there.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, listen, I'm seriously considering it, if for no other reason. It's just I want to support that stuff, and I haven't gotten one of their systems yet. For me, I like playing it on dedicated hardware. Like I could get the ROMs or whatever else, but I also kind of, I don't know. It's cool to be able to support the people who made the games and do it with a cartridge instead of like digital media. I'd so much rather buy physical media from someone and support them that way than buy like a freaking download that could disappear in a year. But that's me. I'm fucking weird.
Hey, I was gonna say, I know we have a couple of big notes on our run sheet here. I think that I think we have a couple items there that we could save for a whole nother thing, because I think we get into a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
But I think it would we could wrap this up. We have a cool note here on Zelda.
Yeah,
and I think this is a fun. I think this would be a fun way to kind of end it, because I know we all have our own little things with Zelda, and this is pretty cool. What do you got?
So, been hearing for years about like a Zelda All-Stars collection, kind of like what they've done for Super Mario Brothers. Back when the GameCube was out, you could actually buy a silver GameCube or platinum GameCube, sorry, that came with a disc that had Zelda 1 and 2 on it, and then it had, I want to say, was that the one that had Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask on it too? Or am I thinking of something else?
Richie, that's a question for you. You should know this one.
I think it had the Zelda when Nintendo released the Platinum GameCube, and they had the special bundle that came with the Zelda Legends disc or whatever it was, and it had Legends of Zelda 1, Adventure of Link, and I'm pretty sure it had Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, right?
It just had up to Ocarina of Time. There was a second one release that had Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, and the Ocarina of Time Master's Quest.
Oh yeah, the one that only got released in Japan on the 64 disc drive. Yeah. Okay. So we've had that in the past, but we've never really had a legitimate Legend of Zelda collection. And there was talk about it last year for Zelda's, what was it, 30th or 35th anniversary. We didn't get it, but they've been talking. There's rumors there's going to be a Nintendo Direct soon before Breath of the Wild 2 comes out. They're going to release a Wind Waker and Twilight Princess like compilation for the Switch, which I would be happy with. I've never finished Wind Waker, and I got really far in Twilight Princess, and my GameCube took a crap. So I've never finished either of those games, and I'd really like to go back and play them. So I would be looking forward to that. Maybe they'll squeeze in some of what I'd really love to see a collection of the handheld ones, like the 3DS one that just came out not too long ago, Link Between Worlds. Phenomenal game. I played through that game at least 3 separate times, and it's so good. And I would love to be able to play that on normal hardware and not be tied to my little tiny ass 3DS.
Yeah, no, you'd mentioned Breath of the Wild, and that's what I'm really looking forward to the sequel on that. I think a lot of people are, and I think that's one of those games that, like, even if you weren't hardcore gamer Zelda fan, that drew everyone in. So this is really cool to see some of these other games that were released previously. They're coming back, and you can expose new generation to them. People that might not have gotten the chance, like you said, you didn't get a chance to finish it. Some people don't get a chance to play it. There's certain games that I certainly, for one reason or the other, never played. So it's certainly something I'll be looking at. Kyler, I don't know what was your were you ever in the Zelda stuff at all, or I know
honestly not really, because like the history of my like gaming experience was as a kid, Dad kept the Super Nintendo in his bedroom, and so every now and then
I could see that.
could play. Yeah, he kept it in his bedroom, and so every now and then I would play Mortal Kombat 2 F-Zero Race. And I think his other game he had was he had like Donkey Kong and stuff like that, which I obviously played the shit out of. But then he had a bass fishing game that I really love to play. After that, honestly, I didn't even have exposure to any game console unless I went over to my aunt's house, and the only game that I was allowed to play over there was Sonic the Hedgehog. I think they had a GameCube. No, it was a Sega Genesis that they had. And then it fast forwards to the very first Xbox. No, I had a PS2, and then I had the Xbox. And that was really kind of it. And then I got into the PC stuff after the Xbox.
Yeah, I knew you were a big PC gamer. A lot more so than I ever aspired to be. Yeah, no, it is a pretty cool thing. I'm excited to see it. Nintendo's done this similarly. They released Mario 64 Galaxy and then Sunshine on a release. So it doesn't surprise me. Looking forward to it. I guess it kind of keeps the palate wet, if you will, as people wait for the next big release.
Call of the Wild 2.
And it gives them
Breath of the Wild 2 and whatnot.
Gives them something to sell for Christmas too.
Exactly. Yep.
I think there's going to be a lot of there's going to be a lot of other games that come out that I think. Tom, did you ever play Dead Space?
No.
So like it's kind of along the lines of like the outer space, like horror kind of games. And they're coming out. The creators of Dead Space are coming out with a new one called the Callisto Protocol. I'm kind of excited about that.
Did you say outer space horror?
Yeah, it's like a survival horror video game. Outer space.
Do you play as the horror, or do you?
I don't know if you play as the horror or if you get paid. But apparently it's fun. You get to wear kind of like a couple chains and a man thong. I think you can cycle through. Like it's one of those microtransactions where you can just like you can get big black dildos, you can get horse cocks, whatever you want.
Okay. I mean, look, it's piquing my interest.
Oh man,
as long as I get to beat somebody with the depth of a dildo, I'm
in. That's good. I think we did a number here. We did a lot on we kind of did a part 2-ish on CM Punk and what the happenings are in AEW. And look, I need to say, something about this. I think I've said this before, we're in a really good spot right now in wrestling. I stopped watching for months. I stopped watching after Mania. Get some really cool things, whether it's real, fake, whatever. Look, people are talking about it. Bob and I kind of swore off months ago never to even talk about wrestling on this because we realized that no one listens to this stuff.
And then we realized it's just the podcast in general nobody listens to. So we'll talk
exactly. So why not just have at it? But no, it's really cool times. I'm excited. You've got good people in charge of both big companies. Hoping hoping something actually happens with Ring of Honor. Supposedly Major League Wrestling's getting some kind of deal. Then you got the whole Freddie Prinze thing. We could talk about that on another thing. He's supposed to be launching his own company. It's really cool times. It's really interesting.
Well, I just think it's only a matter of time before Coney Tan ends up in the Impact Zone.
Yeah, never forget about the little engine that could.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, until next time, thank you for listening. Check us out on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, noisebrigadepod.com, bigbeefyshootyboys.com, harambepox.com, harleyquinsmith8myballs.com, do you like bears.com, alwaysbechupacabra.com, chupacabra4dicks.com. What am I missing?
I think that's it. Double Wide Coffin?
doublewidecoffin.com, and then soon to be was it betterthanmoses.com?